Welcome everybody back to the Generational Dad podcast. I'm your host, Tony. I have a special guest for me today. He is a friend, a mentor, a brother. I seek him out for almost everything. So, Brian, welcome to the show. You can pass it over to you so you introduce yourself.
I appreciate it, man. Kind words. Truly an honor. Brian T.R., originally from Detroit, Michigan, United States Navy, 21 years, currently living in Virginia. Okay. Dad of two. My bad. I probably should put that in there, right? Dad of two.
Knock out. It's not a dad podcast show.
Yeah, definitely. Pride and Joy is dad of two. Tatum should be 3. I'm not one of those dads that do the months, so it should be 3 in June. And then I got Kobe, definitely named after Kobe Bryant. She just turned 1 December 23rd. So that's my 2 little ones.
It's not like 94 months.
Yeah, I can't do it, man. I start sweating.
I think that's weird. I think I'm not for me, I think that's weird because it's like, all right, we get it. Like, you know what I'm saying? They hit once you hit after a year.
So that's a great point. Yeah, I was about to say that. Like, I try to be respectful, and I try to I got to catch my own tongue a lot because I meet a lot of parents where I live. And that's usually the first conversation. Like, oh, how old is she? Oh, she'll turn 3 in June. Like, yeah, little Tyler's 97 months. I'm like, yo, I don't even know how to even take that anymore.
I'm 5,000 months. What's up?
It's a challenge, not a what-upper.
I don't know. I think it's just weird. I think after 1, it's kind of like, yeah, my kid's 1 turning 2 or whatever.
There's no cutoff, yo. That's a good point, though. Yeah,
I think a year should be based. So, since you're a parent of two girls, I want to ask you, when did you realize you was a parent each time? So with Tatum, when did you realize, like when it hit you?
That's a good one. So I think for Tatum, it hit me, honestly, when she was born, because that's my first one. So I'm excited. It's late. And the pregnancy it was a long pregnancy as far as like the labor. I guess it was a long labor. That'd be the better way to put it. And it was just funny because we had in-laws there. My wife being a Mexican, very close family. And my mother-in-law was there and she flew in a friend, which is very interesting. And they had cameras. And they was pretty much filming it. It was just, for me, it was hilarious. I'm already goofy as it is. A true life story. And they get into it with the nurses because the nurses like, yo, you got to get that camera back. And I'm trying not to laugh. I'm trying to like stay in tune because it's a moment, right? And I remember her being born. I didn't hear nothing cry. Yeah, I didn't hear no crying or anything. And like, I gave it a second, and out of nowhere, in the dead silence, you just hear me yell, like, yo, is someone gonna smack her or what? And like,
all on video.
Everything. And because I'm like, yo, I mean, first time dad, never been in that room. You watch movies, you watch training videos. I thought that was the thing, right? They got to make sure the baby's alive awake. And so with that happening, she cried, and immediately I held her. She started sucking on my neck, just being a baby. And it was just dope. Like, for me, that was a big moment. Because I think for the real, definitely, right. And I think that realization is different for me. And I watch a lot of your podcasts. I think it's dope. A lot of the information is being put on. I love the dialogue. I know for me being older, and I guess being kind of late in the game from a parenthood standpoint, at least I feel that way. A lot of that stuff from the realization, you remember all the key moments leading up to it, but actually holding her and knowing that I created that was big for me, to be like, all right, cool. This kind of like my moment. Like, I made this. I gotta start stepping up now. So from that moment for Tatum, that was it for me. Yeah, I knew I was a parent at that moment.
Because you brought life.
That was
put it on your chest, like life on your chest.
Yeah, that was huge for me, man. I'm real big on that. And for Kobe, man, having 2, and I love
that was a quick turnaround.
It was my little COVID baby. So 18 months apart, almost exactly. So with having her, when she came out totally different. She came out ready. She came out screaming. She had a mixtape. She let it be known. She arrived. And you realize realizing not only you're a parent, but you're a parent of 2 is when you have them together. Because it's I feel like when you have one, time management and being able to maneuver around one, it's a little bit easier, with both parents being involved, if the situation is set up successfully. But once you have 2 and both of you are there, then you're a parent. You know what I mean? Like, there's not many breaks. You're kind of taking a break when they're taking a break. And kids, I feel like once they 2 and they feed off each other, the breaks come limited. It's early days and late nights. So, hey, trust me. And I like, we doing this and we coordinated this, of course, nighttime, my time, morning, yours. But as soon as I hang out with you, it's still, you
The
know me
routine
personally.
doesn't
So
stop.
it's still going. I'm already, I like structure and I like preparing. So I'm already getting ready for tomorrow, like what I need from a workout or like coffee. I want to have all that already prepped because I'm of the mind frame. When they wake up, it's their time. Like that's just the way I am. So, but for realization, little key moments here and there, but for Kobe, with her being with her sister, that was a different realization for me from a parent standpoint. Because I feel like once you have multiple kids, it changes
I'm a parent. It's like I'm a
that.
parent of two now. Like,
Right. Yeah. People, you introduce yourself to people and stuff, and like you got kids with that S.
yeah,
It's a little different, right? Yeah, because
you
people
got
people
a
usually ask
kid.
you, yeah, you got kids. Yeah, I got one, but now I'm like, yeah, I got two, and that's also a different realization. You have to remember you have to. I mean, that sounds silly, but a lot of times when you only have one for a certain amount of time, it's probably different for everyone. But it took me a minute. Like my wife would have to remind me, like, yo, don't forget about Kobe. And what I mean by that, like I could be having a conversation. It's like Tatum, 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 and she's like, yo, don't forget about Kobe. Like
Yeah, and
acknowledge
it
Kobe.
happens.
Yeah,
It happens because you're so
absolutely.
used to one thing only over and over and over. So
Yeah.
with all that, what's the hardest moment as a father of two?
You know what? That I thought about that question, man, and I've seen you ask, other people that as well. And for me, I really haven't. I can't say I really had that moment. I think for two, had the hardest moment is them not getting along, right? Because you want your kids to get along, but then I have to take a step back and realize, they're kids. And with Tatum, she don't know how big she is, and I don't think she understands how mean she's being. I think she does now, but she's a little older. But that the dynamic of them trying to get along and figure it out, it's almost like trying to get a blood in the crypt, saying to kind of put them in the same jail cell and kind of agree on something. Like it's interesting. That's kind of a hard moment, but I can't really say that's a hard moment because I feel like I already expected that in a sense, right? Having nieces, being around the people, watching other people parent. I think I was already kind of prepared for that. And I guess for me, I would never say I would take sides anyway, but I definitely try to be respectful of both perspectives. Like Kobe being a baby and just wanting to be, just be, present. And Tatum being like, yo, this is my show. Like, exactly. Yeah. And she's older and she's like, yo, that's mine. Why are you playing with mine? Why are you wearing what was mine? That's been interesting from a parent. Great question though. Yeah, I guess just different for me with the two little ones in the time frame.
So probably sharing is hard for you right now.
You mean in regards with the kids, correct?
Yeah, like teaching them how to share, and more so Tatum to share with Kobe.
Every day. Yeah, it's definitely every day. Yeah, I wish I could say like we don't have good days. Tatum's getting better where she would give her what she wants, right? From a sharing standpoint, she like, I'm playing with this, but I'm gonna give you this, to kind of like, hopefully compensate you and you leave me alone. But now Kobe, she's one, she's smarter, and she's like, nah, I don't want this.
I want
what you got because you're playing with it and it's making you happy. And we were just dealing with that today. And for me, it's comical because I like the thought process and I like to see that the wheels are like kind of moving and they're both trying to figure out how to navigate it, in a controlled setting, because I feel like from a life standpoint, they're going to have to deal with this as they get older, in a different capacity. So, but yeah, as far as lessons go, constant. That's a definitely constant with the two of them involved.
Have you started buying two things for each of them yet?
Yes, we have. Mostly other people have. We've been blessed. We just, with you, I was actually telling my barber today in regards to trying to be, more charitable and like donate and pass things on. Like, and I brought up how you gave my wife and I a bunch of clothes from Amaya, and how we didn't have to buy none the first couple of years for Tatum. She was set. And with having two girls, I've just been able to just pass, a lot of stuff on. So with the two things, that just actually started happening where people, just being nice, of course, and in the holidays. And so, yeah, we've been getting a lot of stuff in the mail. It was like, hey, that's Kobe's and that's Tatum's. But you give it to the girls and it's like, nah, I want both. Or they end up swapping. Right. So we haven't really been doing it. But we've been allowing others to do it too, out of respect, just because I'm not trying to police people and how they show love or affection. And for some people, it's buying stuff and trying to identify that. So a few things we got it locked in, but for the most part, there's a lot of hot swapping going on. Yeah.
Well, that's good as long as because I know when you have especially two that young apart, like only like a small amount of time apart, it's kind of like having twins in a way, and you got to get them two of everything. Like I think for me, probably it's gonna be a little bit easier because like Amaya is 4, turning 5 this year. So when we have another one, it's gonna be a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old. So their scope of playing with things probably will be way different versus having two almost so close together. So that's why I asked. I was like, is he buying two of everything? Because it's going to get to that point where you need like 2 Pop-It toys and 2 fidget spinners, and just to calm, for your mental peace.
Oh no, yeah, I feel what you're saying from them being able to kind of like self-occupy.
Yeah,
yeah, I'm with you. We got moments where they can coexist in the same space, and Tatum could be playing with something. But I don't think it'll probably have to wait till a little older, or it may never go away, right? Teenage kids, or it may never go away. But like your situation, definitely, man. Amaya is super intelligent as it is. A lot of my friends where I see they have a decent gap, it do seem to work out a lot. But then I also see it from the flip end where a lot of parents would tell us in passing where they say, "I wish they, I had them back to back, so they can grow up closer." Or I'm weird like that. I think long term, God willing, and I always look at it from an angle. I'm like, I hope they are close when they get older, and I hope they kind of grow up close. So, but this is just free entertainment at the moment. I mean, with the back and forth, I just enjoy it and just try to play referee and just kind of keep it to a minimum. But it is interesting, as you put it earlier.
But no, it's good because you're like there. You're there to be a part of it, be a part of the growth, be a part of the the self adversities that you guys put for them. Kind of, good adversities, I would like to call it, because you could do it. You could buy them both everything, but is that always the best answer? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you want them to learn how to share and all these little tiny things you want them to learn as kids. So, but I think, like I said, Tatum's a little bit older, so it's good to have her a little bit older to kind of just easier for Kobe to follow along. And it doesn't feel like you're relearning how to raise a kid again.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I think it's also funny too. I mean, I don't know how other parents feel. I feel like you brain dump a lot without even trying, and I feel like I'd be curious, and I like to see, when friends close to me, like when they do have a second, I am curious to kind of just ask them, like, hey, do you remember, say, how did you address this the second time around? Because Amy and I done found ourselves just laughing about like, yo, we dealt with this before. Why are we stumped right now? Why are we looking at this from a different angle? And I just feel like just in life, we end up brain dumping a lot of stuff, not, just subconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, you're right. Like a lot of stuff, I think it's different because from not knowing what to do at all, and you got one, and you kind of got the hits and misses. I think having two, I think you end up kind of approaching it differently just naturally because you're trying to keep the oldest involved too, right? Or you're trying to keep them in mind. So even though you might address the situation one way previously, you probably gonna address it just a little bit different because you're addressing it now as a group, right? At least that's how I like to look at them from a standpoint. I see it more as a group theory, like any way I approach it, or if I'm reading up on it, I try to treat them like
good.
Yeah,
that's good that you look at it like that. I just want to see if do you do things different with Kobe than with Tatum? Like the first time around, like you said, you're trying to figure it out, you're trying to learn, but with Kobe, do you do less things? Like, some parents, they be like, yeah, they went all out for the first kid, but for the second kid, it's like they get 1/4 of everything that they've done because you start realizing I didn't need the the DACA Todd, or I didn't need the baby.
Oh, yeah.
Some people don't need the crib. Some people realize I don't need the crib. I just need the changing table. And it just works like that. Like everyone's different with their second kid and versus and the third kid, fourth kid. Like it's just different the second kid around because they realize they spent so much time, not even time, so much money on stuff that you really didn't need.
Oh, that's a great point, man. I think my wife saved us from that, to be honest with you. Between the stuff we got donated to us, just from, like I said, I mentioned earlier, what you provide us and a lot of people. And then, I mean, I'll be remiss if I didn't bring up COVID because with us having Tatum and that kind of, I feel we was just getting to the point where she was older. We was about to start donating a lot of stuff, like you said, crib, bassinet, because we didn't really go crazy. We was very smart with our registry. You know, we kind of got one of what we needed. And we actually got rid of a lot of stuff fairly quick. Because like you said, from all the previous advice we got from parents, they were like, you're going to end up not using a lot of stuff you get. So just be mindful. And then COVID hit and it got crazy. And we just ended up kind of like the crib was still in the same place. You know, and Tatum sleeps with us actually. Still in the same place. You know, we kind of had the bassinet put up, but then we found out we was pregnant again. And it was just like, all right, this works out. You know, everything's kind of already
every setup.
Yeah, nothing. Like, you know, did a very small, you know, intimate baby shower. Nothing crazy, of course, you know. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, we didn't have to do anything different. But I think a lot of the surrounding things around us in regards to the environment, the situation with COVID, and then just people that we know as well, friends and family, it just kind of worked out where it kind of saved us from ourselves. We didn't even have a chance to go down that rabbit hole and start thinking about it.
That's good. So COVID kind of filter what you really actually needed because you can't go nowhere or do anything anyways. So
I mean, yeah, absolutely. At least that was a choice for us too. You know, having been prego and just a few other things just to be safe, of course.
That's smart. My next question is, when was an uncomfortable moment for you as a father?
Honestly, we have a dog, a Karen Terrier, which is for those who don't know, is Toto from the Wizard of Oz. Mine's just a little less cute. But that was our first kid, and very uncomfortable moment for me is Tatum. This had to be about six months to a year ago. But as all kids, especially if you're a family with a dog, they have to figure out that respect the space, and you know, usually that dynamic can be weird, especially with little dogs. I know with big dogs, they seem to be a little bit more you know, what's the word? How I want to put it? A little, yeah, I guess welcoming, a little bit more friendly, a little bit more accepting, right? Especially with the kid being smaller. But little dogs that, you know, people like to say Napoleon syndrome, you know, and my dog's just angry as it is. But, you know, a little bit of space. And we had our little stuff here in our tit for tat. My dog would growl, nothing too crazy. But one night, I think I had Kobe and I think I was on the phone, just a normal day in the household, chaotic, of course, right? And Tatum got into Paris's bed and Paris snapped, like Paris bit her. Like
oh wow.
Yeah, man. It happened so quick, right? And I heard it, you know, me, you know, I trained dogs in the military, you know, 16 plus years now. And I hear it and, you know, you just know right away something's not right. Mm-hmm. And when I see Tatum, she's like crouched over with her hands on her head, like almost, you know, fetal position, almost protecting herself. Afraid. Yeah, just still. And like in Paris, I mean, she's a tiny dog, but she kind of like hits her with her paw, like a pouncing, right? And what makes the moment uncomfortable, because I love my dog and I love animals and things like that. But in that moment, like the thought of killing Paris crossed my mind. Like there's no other way I could sugarcoat it. Like I was going to really hurt my dog, you know, because I just saw my kid suffering. So I had to, yeah. And that was different for me from a mental standpoint. And I had to take in the moment, of course, quickly because I had to get to Tatum. I took Paris. I calmly put her in the garage, you know, just to kind of remove her from the equation. And kind of start tending to Tatum, and I mean, her ear swelled up. It wasn't nothing like, I don't want to paint a picture like it's blood everywhere, nothing crazy, right? But you know, she nipped her ear swelled up. Tatum just, you know, she's super, super emotional, scared. So, and it just hurt, you know, because you're trying to think like, man, I gotta go to the hospital. You know, you start trying to run these scenarios through your head, and you know, lucky enough, cooler heads prevailed, and we just treated the wound. It wasn't too crazy. The ear was still swelled up. It looked like that Martin episode when he got beat up a little bit. And she was good. You know what I'm saying? That's the cool thing about kids. They're invincible, right? Like the next day, she's cool. She's hugging Paris, you know, and stuff like that. But it was just one of those things where it was uncomfortable for me because I don't think you should hover your child, but it was weird because it kind of put me in a situation where I had to really mentally kind of think about how I'm gonna handle like things, you know, stuff she's gonna do as she gets older, right? Exactly, yeah. Situation. I guess that's a better way to put it, like, because you know, you I guess you don't know how you're gonna handle something till it happens. I'm real big on that. Having done a few deployments, things like that. I try not to overthink things, and but it is different because I've never loved something as much as I love my kids. You know,
so yeah, that was
so
for difference.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Everything with them is amplified. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just that's just the way it is. And I love Paris, and we're good and we work through that, right? And nothing crazy happened. Just for the sake of the podcast from a parent standpoint, that was uncomfortable, man. Because I mean, I don't trip on a lot of stuff, being a dad. Can we talk about a lot of stuff, right? Like having daughters and having to go into a restroom. She has to go and there's other dudes in there and stuff like that.
That's my
And
biggest uncomfortability that I've conquered to the most part.
Yeah, I'm with you, but I've only been able to approach that right from a comfortable standpoint because you shared something like, and we spoke on it, and I definitely thought about it. We caught flights recently, and I had to take her, and you think about this stuff, but I'm able to address it. I'm like, no, man, I'm not the only one that have to deal with this, and as long as I get what you're saying. I appreciate you for sharing that when you did. But for me, that's what it was. Because her getting hurt or something happening to them that I feel could have been prevented. Because I can't prevent everything. But little things, I feel like I got to make sure I'm putting myself in the best position. And them in the best position as well. To just not get hurt or, put in danger. So
how did
that would have been that moment. She was it was pretty significant for both of us, in that moment. But I also feel like you need moments like that as parents too. As sick as that sound, because you want to see how you both handle it, how you, fight or flight, right? Or you're just gonna shut down. But we both jump right on it. We kind of got a good system with Paris now because Paris still growls. She still wants her space, and they have to coexist. And we have to remind Tatum, hey, Tatum, remember what happened last time. Tatum doesn't care, of course, because Tatum's Tatum, and she's too. Yeah, she's doing some change, so I can't expect her. It's not like I'm talking to another adult. She's like, yeah, you know what, Dad, you're right. I got bit there last night. She don't know. So and now and I got Kobe, right? So now Kobe's like, it's my turn. I can crawl and I pretty much can walk in. Paris's bed look comfortable. So from that aspect, Amy handled it well, I believe. At least, we try to communicate and we spoke about it. And we even talked about, I was honest with her about the Paris situation, because it never once crossed my mind where I was like, we got to get rid of Paris. For me, it was more so like, hey, we gotta do better about making sure we respecting both their spaces and separating them if we need to. I wanted to make sure we looked at it and it wasn't a finger pointing thing because I know I see it all the time on Facebook where they're like, hey, good dog to a new home, doesn't get along with kids and that kind of sucks, right? Especially if the dog. I'm not saying you should have to choose for your dog or your kids, but if you had a dog first and then you chose to have kids or whatever the case may be, I just feel like the effort got to at least be there, what I'm saying? If you've done that, that's awesome. But I just feel like the effort got to take place to make sure they can coexist if that's feasible. And so I'm sure sometimes it's not, but if it is, it should work.
No, what you're saying is true. So you remember I had the two huskies. So I had Lilo and Co. We had two huskies before Bia got pregnant. And then when she got pregnant, the huskies were still fine. We still had the huskies. They were expensive. If anybody ever wants to get huskies, they're expensive as hell. Like seriously, they were like billing. they're serious. They were billing his own. I think each dog was $70 to groom. Then eating wise was about $200, $300 a month. So they were expensive dogs. Right there, it's like $400 right there, gone. Just cleaning them and feeding them. That's not even like their beds and stuff like that. But so then when Bia got pregnant, gave birth, I think the first week we had Amaya. We brought Amaya home, had on the bed. So Cole was really Bia's husky, and then Lilo was mine. Lilo was fine. He was a super chill dog, but Cole was super hyperactive. Like he was super hyper, and he could jump on the bed. He could put his paws on the bed, and he'll look over Amaya. And I think there was one day that Amaya was crying, and Bia was tending to Amaya, and she walked away real quick to go grab something, and you see Cole over the bed, and it was just the fact that Cole's over the bed and he was like whining and like he wasn't growling, but he was making this whining noise that he was like really jealous. You could tell, when dogs are jealous, they whine. And I guess that, and especially Bia just gave birth, all that, it made her, it was like a lot of anxiety build up. Like, when you have two kids and you're just running around doing a bunch of stuff and everything's not working.
Oh yeah.
That feeling, that's what she felt. And she put both the dogs up on the marketplace.
I remember that.
Yeah, because I was driving home from work. I was driving home from work and I was like, I don't know why I was looking at my phone. Because I think I got like a notification from like the Virginia Craigslist book or something like that. I was like, who's selling what? And I seen the two dogs up there. I was like, man, those dogs look like mine. And then come to realize those 2 dogs are mine. So that was so we went home, we talked about it, and it was a lot. I'm not gonna lie, having 2 dogs and then having a newborn, felt like having 3 kids at once. And that was just that was a lot. That was a lot to handle. So we had to rehome the 2 dogs. It was difficult because I had those dogs. I had Lilo when he was like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Even though that's not even the time you're supposed to grab a dog, but I had him like at 3, 4, like about 3 weeks, and we had them till they were 2. So that was a big.
Oh, you had him for a minute, yeah.
I had him for a while. I had him for my whole tour when I was in SIG, and then when we came back, and then about a year into Virginia. So it was we had him for a long time. It was a lot. So we rehomed them to good friends that I worked with and stuff. Like rehomed them. And then when Amaya was a good 2 years old, a good 2, we got her Coco now. It's a small dog. It's a Havanese dog. So I think the dynamics for that I understood and I got from that was it's better to have your child and then have a pet, in a sense of them growing together, in versus having the pet first, because the pet is the child first. So the territory is already set. They know what they want. The child, the newborn is the disruption in their life. Vices if you have the child first, you're just welcoming in a pet. So they're adapting. So it's disruption to adaption in a sense. So that's why I probably felt like that's why Paris will have those moments of growling in her space, because this is all she knew. She already set those boundaries for herself with you guys. Vices, if let's say you guys was to get a new dog today, if you guys didn't have Paris, you guys get a new dog today, right? Or get Paris for the first time, she would have to be comfortable with what you guys call boundaries, and these figures is already there. Like your mom is there, Tatum's there, Kobe's there, so she's just adapting vices, feeling disruptive.
Right.
And that's how I feel how that worked with when we had our pets. I mean, I feel like you're the dog whisperer, so you probably know more than I do.
Yeah. That's funny, man. I think that's a great point, man. I think like with dogs, people hate when I say it, but it is what it is. Like you said, with training dogs, I say it's like having kids, right? And vice versa. It just is, repetition, routine. It's a lot of different things. And I agree with what you said. Because I just think at the end of the day, it's all about variables too. And the whole way you explain everything in regards to that approach, I just start laughing, thinking to myself, I'm like, man, they don't show that on Instagram. It's always the soft music and a big fluffy dog, and they bring the kid home, and the dog nuzzle the kid.
And it's not.
They don't show what happens after the fact. It's not.
The dog's tearing up the kid's bed, or the dog's crying at the door, scratching the door because they're not getting attention, or they're just turning up on your house because you're not paying them no mind. It's not because you can't. It's because it's not that you don't want to. It's just you don't have that time by taking care of a child and then trying to get sleep for yourself. It's real minimal.
It's a lot, yeah. And like you said with Huskies, and that's the crazy thing. I remember your Huskies, man. I think a lot of people do realize. I think I like to think a lot of people do a little bit more research now, especially in this day and age. But yeah, Huskies a lot to maintain. One is like that, just one of those dog breeds where you don't make enough time, it's going to become detrimental to them, to you, because they're going to make you pay for it. So I respect that. And that's why I say I think everyone's situation is 100% different. That's the one thing, at least for me, I try to take from parenthood. I'm so non-judgmental. I mean, besides the whole abuse and things like that type of stuff, that's stuff you can't condone. But just from an approach standpoint, I'm like I love just talking to other people and just seeing how they approach situations and what their thought process is, because it's very interesting, especially from a dog standpoint. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So when did you feel like you had a teaching moment as a parent?
Man, an hour ago, like I guess.
Hey, it happens.
Yeah, it does. I'm about to say for me, man, it's consistent, man. I remember you forward the questions. That's kind of it's not difficult. I guess it's difficult for me to pinpoint because right now I'm learning. I guess I'll say from a parent standpoint, a teachable moment for me is just that kids are extremely smart. And they are they're sponges. Like everyone, it sounds cliche when people say that, right? I don't think people really grasp the concept, like what they mean. Kids are sponges. Like Tatum now, she's just so funny because she just pays attention and she's like, I want an apple. So you grab a green one. She's She's like, and she's 2.5. She's like, no, I don't want a pear. I want an apple.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yo, it is an apple. It's a green one. She said, no, I want a red one. And then you'll grab it. And she's like, okay, wash your hands. I'm like, hold up, time out. You're 2. Like, I need you to chill out for a second. Yeah, I need you to chill out for a second. So stuff like that is teachable for me from a comical standpoint. But a legit teachable moment is when I had a doctor's appointment with Tatum, and we're driving there, and she had a blowout. And for those, maybe watch a podcast and know what that is. That's when they're in the car seat and they take a poop and it goes everywhere.
It's like all exploded all over the place. Yeah,
absolutely. And this was when Amy was working. I think she was working at the CDC. So I would come home from work and I was taking Tatum to all her appointments, and I just love that type of stuff. I'm that type of dad. So, but she has a blowout. So I'm not tripping. I hear it while we drive. I'm like, cool. I'll take care when I get there. I get there. I check in, say hi to the lady. I'm like, she's like, oh, y'all ready? I say, hey, I just gotta go change real quick. She had a little accident. They're like, okay, cool. Just let us know you're ready. No problem. I get in there. I did not pack the diaper bag with anything. I'm talking pretty much nothing. I might have had some headphones in there. I can't even tell you why I had those in there. Long story boring. Like, I ended up having to do that whole doctor appointment. The clothes was wrecked. I pretty much ended up washing her up in there. She was butt naked the whole appointment. Like, I pretty much walked in. I had to take one of my shirts off, wrap her in it, do the whole appointment. And like, when I tell you, anytime we go, extremely, because it's not really so much embarrassing. It's just one of those things where you just like, come on, yo, you gotta do better. Like, so like for me, anytime I go anywhere, even now having 2, I'm like, yo, are we good? Like diapers, wipes, clothes, extra clothes. They got extra set for that. Cause now I'm learning, like, you can't plan for everything. You can't. And road trips, airplanes. I've learned that, and I try to. My patience in regards to that is extremely high. I have monk level patience when it comes to stuff like that now, because I just want to be prepared. Because it's not so much for me; it's for them. Because I felt more bad that I didn't have clothes for her. Right? She don't know the difference. She's not embarrassed. She's just laughing the whole time. And I'm glad she was at an age where it's comical. But I would hate for that to have been a situation. Maybe older, maybe she's a little bit older or something like that. Yeah. So that was a extreme teachable moment for me. And again, with me having 2 little ones, that was very significant for me, because now having 2, I'm like, all right, cool. I don't want to go through that again. That was crazy, but yeah.
No, I think I had those moments before, and I had to. So now moving forward, we have a diaper bag that's always filled with diapers, change of clothes, snacks. So it's preset. So every time I grab it, I go. If I don't use it, then I know it's good to go. But the moment, like say, I use something, when I get home, I refill it right then and there, because I will forget. So it has to be in the moment. If I don't do it in the moment, I will forget. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to pack it. Or I'll text myself. So I have a habit of doing that a lot. Like I'll text myself like my plan of the day. So like, this is what I'm doing, da, 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 da. And that's just a system I have. So I know what I need to get done, because like I'm so scattered in my mind. Like I think about so many things that I need to keep at least a train of thought, or at least a to-do list for myself for the day. Okay, I'm gonna knock these things out. And if I get to knock everything out, good to go. I feel good about myself. If I don't, at least I know I was like, all right, I'll move it over to the next day, because this has to get done. So with the diaper bag thing, if I use it, I text myself like, hey, I need to fill the bag back up. So by the time I get home, I look at my phone. All right, I gotta fill it back up, and I'm good for the next day. So I always have it preset. Like we have like 2 preset bags with blankets, diapers, juices, all that. So there's always a Capri Sun in there. Always a snack, because you never know when you need it. So
yeah,
presetting is the best thing. Presetting is safe. You have 2, so you probably need a bigger bag.
We got a nice size bag, but I think I might have to take that on board with the preset, because I think the habit works, and like I like your approach to it. I'm very good about asking like before I go, but I think a preset will save everyone involved, because I might be asking a question.
Anybody could grab it,
exactly,
and it's good to go. And then at the end of the night, you could just look at the bag, just make sure like, all right. I usually do it, let's say, if we're going right before the weekend. So usually like Thursday night, I'm like, let me look at the back seat, because if we go somewhere, it's Friday, Saturday. So it's one of those days I know. So I just know that I always have, we always have a preset bag. So she has 2 bags that's always preset. I think I'm about to get a bigger bag though. I think I'm gonna get a book bag, because it's just easier because she doesn't wear her bag. So I think it's just easier if I just carry a book bag with the stuff. Like it's just her backpack because at the end of the day, I'm wearing it anyways. We're trying to move away from the stroller. So just having that bag would be more helpful. It's bigger. It's, it doesn't look like I'm wearing a skill. Like right now, she has like a sequence rainbow book bag and then a Mickey Mouse book bag. And it's kind of weird. I'm just holding that on the shoulder. Like, what I'm saying?
I don't think it's weird, man. I know how you is about fashion, man.
But it's so small, like it's small and compact. You think like small, compact, this is what I want. It's easy to grab to go. But I think it's just easier just to throw it on a backpack, on my back, because everything's in there. And if I need to put anything myself in there, I could throw it in there. Versus, carry this little bag and try to jam pack everything in there. It's in there.
Good.
But we're punching everything in there. Like I gotta take everything out if I need to get to the juice because it's at the bottom.
Yeah, that don't sound convenient at all. I got you. Yeah,
it's convenient in the fact that it's convenient because I know it's in there, but it's not convenient because it's like, damn, I gotta break this out. So it's like a whole utility bag, like a full Inspector Gadget bag. I'm just pulling everything out, but I think I'm investing in getting a bigger bag,
retro,
probably like a small North Face size.
Yeah, you gotta do a white elephant, man. Yeah,
I seen those. You talking about the bags? I seen those. Yeah, sad, right? These are the YouTube products that people are trying to sell. So
absolutely.
So then, since you had Kobe during COVID, my other question would be: how is parenting during the pandemic, which is still going on?
Oh yeah, definitely. Interesting. It's probably sound like a cop-out answer, but it's interesting. And I say it's interesting from a standpoint, from two standpoints. The bonus is, at least with me right now, my current situation, I just checked into my new command. So, my previous, I traveled, but with COVID, we was grounded a lot, which led to us creating Kobe, of course, but it also allowed me to be home a lot. So I think that's a plus because I love being around my kids and around my family, in general. And that's a huge plus, I feel, just to kind of to help with the development. And with Amy, she's a stay-at-home mom at the moment. So that's also nice too, because I feel like that's playing a huge role in their development. And in a lot of different ways, learning Spanish, from communicating in Spanish, from even the colors and stuff like that, college and the different activities she do. So I like that standpoint because it almost forced us into a situation where we had to adjust. And the adjustment, at least on my wife's part, has been key to my children's development in a positive way. Mm-hmm. I would say the downside, at least definitely from my angle, is from a structure standpoint. Because now with me going back to work, right? Because now, even though we're still in COVID environments, right, but we exist in it. I work Monday through Friday now with my new command. I'm in Monday through Friday. I still travel periodically, or I will, once the schedule picks up in February. But I can be gone in the morning. Like my kids, since they're not used to that, at least not from a routine standpoint. Like my oldest, sometimes, she throws a little tantrum. She's like, "Yo, where's Daddy?" And it takes her a minute to kind of adjust to like, "Oh, Daddy's not here." Or whatever the case may be. So for that, like, I think parenting, at least for me, it's been interesting. It's definitely it's good days, bad days. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm about to say it's consistently inconsistent. Just because no day is the same. I can say I feel like my work days are similar. I feel like my off days are similar, but I feel like when that merges, because I need, at least at right now, I can go, all right, cool, we don't need you to come in, stay home. I feel like from my kid's standpoint, it throws it off. Because now I'm like, hold up, I just woke up, Dad's here. All right, cool. My day about to start, we about to get it in. And then they're like, hold up, I'm going to sleep, Dad's still here. But then at a week at a time, I can take off. And they're like, why am I talking to Dad through the cell phone? So with them being so young, at least I try to rationalize myself that for right now in my career, this is a good time. And right now with the pandemic, this is a good time, at least for them, because I just don't feel like they really grasp what's going on. And I like that. I don't want, I think it's very scary times to have a kid. That's just how I feel. I feel like the times are very scary. I think all times has been scary, right, for all parents. Yeah. For me, with the pandemic and everything else, it's scary. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not scared. I don't think about stuff like that. But I'm glad ignorance is bliss, right? And being a kid and that and having that knowledge capacity of what's really happening, that's also blissful. And I embrace that. You know what I'm saying? That's not something I'm gonna force on them right now. So from a COVID parenting standpoint, it's been consistently inconsistent. I think I'm gonna stick with that. Yeah.
That's all I have. So I would like to thank you for being a part of the show. I think a lot of people get a bunch of value out of everything we've talked about. And I'll, if anybody needs to get in contact with you, I'll put your information down there, your IG, your Facebook, and anybody could reach out. Like I said, you've been a great mentor for me and a great friend, great brother. And I mean, a lot of the things I've done and accomplished is, with your guidance and stuff like that. So I think that's helpful. And I believe you could help probably a bunch of other people, especially a father of two, especially two little girls back to back. If I have another girl, I'm definitely going to go to you because you're the subject matter expert. Absolutely. But I'd like to thank you, and thank you everyone for watching. If anything, subscribe to the rest of the channel. Subscribe to the channel, and then just continue seeing the rest of the videos. And we're going to be posting a lot of good content. So I'll see you out.